Hey, everybody, welcome to the Teacher's Lounge.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Dunham. I'm a 7th grade math teacher and also a stand-up comic.
My name is Matt Jones. I am a middle school drama teacher, also a stand-up comic and actor.
Hey, what's up? What's up? My name is Zoe Johnson. I run a after school theater program, and I'm also an actor and stripper. I'm just playing, and also a comedian too. Let's go. Yeah.
So what we did today is, or tonight I should say, is we're actually about 5 or 6 really big things that schools are working on, especially in big cities, that they're thinking about pushing out and working on behind the scenes. You may have seen some of this stuff in the news. You may not have. I know that one of the things I specifically saw, because it showed up in my Instagram feed. And so we're going to take a look at all this stuff and see what we all think about it.
Yes.
100%.
Maybe some
Absolutely.
of the future.
Yeah, it will be the future eventually, but you know, a lot of times the education system, as we've talked about before, we want to preface this for you guys. Sometimes they're like, yeah, I'm working on big things. It's kind of like people in Hollywood that are like, yeah, you know, I'll probably cast you in something. I'm working on some big stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you live in a studio apartment with 14 cats.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So yeah, anyways, our
And
first
also,
one.
we got to say this,
Yeah.
the fact that a lot of the times the school system is always trying to come up with something new. Either one, because they can't fault the customer.
Absolutely.
So they got to come up with something else.
Yeah.
Right. Or they're also trying to keep customers. Hey, look at this new thing that we're going to have. And you go, guess what? Hey, let me ask you guys, what's the best exercise for your back if you want to go to work out? What is it?
I like pull-ups.
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 Guess what? It'll be pull-ups 25 years from now.
Yeah.
But no one wants to admit that old school way of just doing pull-ups is
Works.
the best and works.
Simplicity is there for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that being said,
Let's go.
the modernized learning and assessment. So trends include implementing neuroscience-backed teaching methods, adopting portrait of a graduate frameworks, and using immersive technology like AR, VR. So simplifying it, basically using the most cutting edge technology. Virtual reality. Dude, we can't even get enough chairs in a classroom. I doubt they're going to incorporate virtual reality headsets.
Absolutely. All in the classroom.
Plus, they get
All the
broken
kids.
in a week.
Yes.
A kid would get frustrated over a math game where
God.
he's doing a walkthrough first person thing. And he'd be like, ah! And would just throw it on the ground.
Yes,
I see kids,
absolutely.
I see kids punch their Chromebooks. Could you imagine getting upset at AR and just taking off the whole like meta thing or just tossing
And
it?
break
Smashing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, a lot of these kids have no self-regulation skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them a $2,000 piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Have we not
Yeah.
learned enough from the iPad debacle in our own school districts? You weren't even a teacher then.
Mm-mm.
It was $1 billion that they were going to spend to give every kid an iPad. Number one, iPads, those that become outdated. Number two,
Yes.
they were giving them no kind of case whatsoever for the iPad, and they were buying them the most expensive iPad that money could buy at that time.
That's so
Guess
stupid.
what happened to all those iPads?
They
Bro.
Cracked, and then kids were doing crazy stuff on them.
Dude,
Man,
kids in the city and girls in their 20s will both crack screens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, have you ever like when you're in your 20s or whatever, go on dates, every girl, like their cell phone is like somehow cracked.
Yes. And it's still using it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
But I just feel like if it's not a video game, these kids are not want to learn off this type of technology. If they're not shooting a gun or something like that, they're not going to sit there and learn. If they can't learn from you, why would they learn from this? Doesn't make sense.
They're gonna have to make it so immersive that like the numbers are like monsters they have to shoot with a gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If it's not no music with it, it's not gonna be fun. Kids are not gonna do it. It's a waste of time.
100%.
Yeah.
Like the square root of 64, and then you shoot the 6 and the 4.
And if you think about it, that's taking jobs away from you guys. Boom.
no,
Okay.
well, you're always going to need an adult in the classroom.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but you know what? Okay, like, have you guys heard of Neuralink?
Yes.
So we talked about this, like Elon Musk, like Tesla, like I don't know if Tesla's actually do it, but Elon Musk created a chip that it's talking about, like Neuralink. Like they put one in like a chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee was like playing video games and was
Really?
able to, I think, do like sign language and stuff. So the thing is human beings are really competing, especially us as teachers, are really competing with technology.
Absolutely.
Because kids are doing this all day long. So we're trying to compete with that in the classroom with our natural resources. I don't believe in putting chips in people's brains. I think it's a terrible idea. But at the same
it can
time,
track you everywhere you go.
100%,
Yeah.
totally against it. But I also think that bridging technology is unavoidable. We're going to have to do that because I don't see us going back from this. I don't think we're ever going to go back to pencil and paper. I think that eventually
It's going to get worse.
we can't, we're so burnt out because we're trying to compete with technology on some level.
The thing
I
is,
think.
though, we're giving kids all the technology in the world, and it's not increasing test scores.
Absolutely.
You know, test scores actually go down the more the kid is learning from a screen because
Absolutely.
they're not making a connection whatsoever. The neural pathways, all of that being built. It's the same thing of like saying, hey, well, just movies are out, so we should stop reading books. That's essentially right. The argument.
No, yeah, I
Yes,
think
in a way it is because that's a new technology. But nothing does, there is no greater thing that a human being can do for their brain other than, I believe, reading.
and writing.
And reading number one. Like if you could choose only one thing, it would be to read. Because if you're very proficient as a reader, your brain is so awake.
It's soaking up stuff too. Yeah.
The more a kid reads, you don't need any less instruction on how to spell correctly, how to formulate sentences. They're more articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Their math scores go up.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I do think that is the best way to learn, but I don't see us rescinding from technology. I think it's just going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
And I think that as it gets worse, I think that teachers are going to become even more burnt out because we're burnt out now by trying to be able to get a kid's attention to where I see that like in the future, there is going to be some sort of like, it's just going to be so AI because nobody's going to be able to compete with how much time a kid spends on a device.
I agree.
To where they're just going to have to create these AI programs that teach them in that way. I'm not for it, but I think that's where we're going.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, okay, so number one, like I said, that's not the best way to actually develop the mind, right?
I agree.
Just like
I agree.
Someone doing dumbbell pullovers to work one part of their lats or whatever, they create like a machine, right? That you pull down like that is not the best exercise. But people, that's what they all gravitate towards. I think that we're setting society up to be even less educated. Also, too, it's one of those things of like we can give them all the technology in the world, but if you have no accountability whatsoever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about iReady. iReady is a program that gets to know you and your current level and will actually give you lessons.
A curriculum for you.
Yes. It doesn't matter how much it doesn't work unless the kid is forced to do it. Most kids are waiting out the clock like the end of a football game that they've already won and just taking a knee.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of sitting there because there's no consequence.
No, dude,
So-
I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to pencil and paper and to reading an actual book. Cause like even reading a book and not on Kindle, I think is better, but I
hate reading books on Kindle.
I do too.
I love to have the book in my hand.
I tried it for
so
a while.
much better.
I don't like it.
It's boring. I just don't like it. I can't focus on that.
100%.
I have to hold the book.
100%.
Yeah.
And I would love to go back to that. I don't think we're going to though. I think that this rollout is going to keep, and I think it's going to get even harder. And I think eventually so many teachers are just going to be so burnt out. It's like, all right, just let a computer teach them. And that's not going to be good for society.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And that's not a very hopeful outlook.
Idiocracy is so
but
much
I do
closer.
think I do think we're very close to idiocracy. And I think that eventually AI is going to be in the classroom only because people are not going to be. Dude, imagine how hard it is to teach now. As they continue this technological rollout, it's going to get so much harder. I think the only thing, teachers are just going to be like so tired. They're going to be like, dude.
It's be real burnout. Yeah.
All right.
Well, hopefully 30 years from now, teachers can look back upon this and see, oh, wow, things didn't go up. Things didn't get better, you know? But then you think about it, right?
I hope I'm wrong, by the way, too. I'm not invested in being right. I hope I'm wrong.
I think all this stuff will become a reality, but I don't think it's going to change anything.
Yeah.
No, it's going to make things worse.
I think that you're going to actually have a greater separation of we'll say the thinkers and the non-thinkers. Because what if there's really just two groups, the thinkers
Okay.
and the non-thinkers? And the non-thinkers, they're also the kids not putting it, maybe they're also kids not putting any work in school. So what's the difference if we're just entertaining with a video game that's telling them to shoot 4 times 4 equals 16, boom, and then they go on to...
Yeah, imagine that with math, with like a gun.
Yeah.
You just said that.
That's so crazy.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not supposed to be a video game, dude. It's
I know.
supposed to,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's literally so you can, the reason why we learn to multiply is so that you can create groups of things, right? Because you're not multiplying 4 times 4, you're multiplying 4 groups of 4.
Well,
Yeah,
because dude,
absolutely.
we're addicted to entertainment, which is what's making us ultimately stupid. Because like
yeah.
everything's not supposed to be entertaining. Like, dude, like in our grandparents' time, the reason why they were more thin is because they saw food probably closer to an adequate way to view food, nutrition and fuel. Now everybody's like, I can't eat it if it doesn't have cotton candy mustard on it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you everything's not supposed to be entertaining. We talked about that, like working out, like not everything's supposed to feel good, but now people are so addicted to like feeling good.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
I can't.
I need that high feeling, instant gratification.
People aren't even going to be able to wipe their butts anymore because of bidet. It's like,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
the way that feels better. It's like, how much do we need for everything to be convenient?
And how about the socialization factor? Is that what you really want? Look, what's the biggest drawback of kids being homeschooled? They don't have the socialization, right?
Absolutely.
You put an entire class in VR, they're not in the classroom anymore, right? It's
They're in the
already
world.
bad enough. Do you guys remember this years ago when like social media just took off and there were people in stand-up that were like open mic comics, right? And they would tweet some of the dumbest stuff, like politically dumb stuff. But there's like a group of also weird people out there that would start agreeing with them.
Oh my
But then they get
God.
out into the real world and they're all their dumb jokes, everything fails in
clickbait shit,
real
yeah.
in the
because
real
they're
world.
not actually trying. Yeah.
no, no.
And so they
don't
go
know how
back to
connect
social
people.
media where they're surrounded in their little, like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
They're cubicle.
Yeah.
Like a cubicle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, if you do that, you're taking also away one of the most important aspects of being a human being. And that's the socialization.
Well,
man.
so many people
agree.
too have gone back. I don't know if you guys have seen this, like how many people have gone back to doing simple things like homesteading
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And like growing your own garden and everything. And then, having your own chickens. And at first I was like, those are just hipsters in Silver Lake doing that. But then it's like, there actually is a value to that because like you look at where society's headed and everything. And so I do think with your whole thing about the thinkers and the non-thinkers, I think some people, eventually technology is going to reach a certain point to where some people like tap the mat and they're like, you know what? I'm done. I think I might actually go back. It's getting a little too weird for me,
Yeah.
But we'll go to the next one,
let's
which is
go.
staffing challenges. Districts are dealing with high rates of teacher burnout. True, shortages, and the need for better retention strategies. So districts, they're dealing with high rates of teacher burnout. We know that. There's shortages because of the teacher burnout and the need for better retention strategies. Well, the need for better retention strategies, them talking about that, that's the reason for the first two, the teacher burnout and shortages. Because if you try to tell somebody 2 + 2 is, and then they forget before you go to 4, that's so exhausting all day long to keep repeating yourself. You can do a really simple lesson plan that's so short and so sweet. And somebody's like, what do they say? What are we doing?
Yeah, but they're talking about retention of teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, retention. I was thinking of like retention rate of like information. like the
No.
need for-
Teachers.
So the reason why the better retention strategies, I don't know, bring back consequences. How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great way.
Yeah.
How about take out they say the 5 or 10% that are causing all the problems, and so someone can actually teach. I don't know, bring up more accountability for the kids. Like, hey, if you don't do your homework, you can actually stay during nutrition or lunch to work on that extra practice,
Yeah. I mean, they just don't support teachers. That's what it is. So the average teacher quits the first 6 months. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
it's kind of like a toxic
bad.
workplace environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like even if you work, dude, I remember when I was applying for jobs to work at fast food. And people would say different things. They'd be like, you don't want to work at McDonald's because the people there do meth in the back. But you want to work at Wendy's because
They smoke
they're
weed.
clean. You know what I mean? They smoke weed. Yeah. It's you got to choose between coke, weed, and meth. You know, you're like, I guess weed. You know, but there was different like environments. So even back then, you're like, okay, I'll work at Wendy's because they're cleaner around their food, and it was like seen as a little bit more upscale. I know that's weird to say, like Wendy's is really upscale.
No, you're
but
right.
even in there's like a tiered system to where like some place can be so toxic that's even too toxic for people whose standard of living is fast food. So I think that like when you work at a school, if every single day, because our coworkers are essentially children, you know what I mean? Like our coworkers, what do? They fart in the classroom, they eat Takis, they shove peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in
By
electrical
coworkers,
outlets.
you're talking.
Yeah, coworkers.
About students.
I'm talking about students, yeah. Not the teachers. Yeah, some lady comes in an ABC dress and then just like spits on my table. No, but like the students, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think there's like just a certain point where you kind of, I don't know, you get to a spot where you're just like, all right, this is like so exhausting and I can't kick anybody out of the classroom.
Yeah,
You know?
and why is it? Why is also that burnout? Probably because of the fact that all these people are going to, they're like, hey, I want to become a teacher. And then they get into a classroom and it's a complete 180 from
It's
what
not.
they
It's not
expected.
enjoyable.
It's the complete opposite, right?
Well, because you're not teaching kids. The reason why you go into teaching is because you actually care about kids.
Absolutely.
More often than not, there's some people who are in there for the wrong reasons, but you should go into teaching because you care about kids. And people act like if you're burnt out by the situation, you don't care about kids. You know how frustrating it is to be like, yeah, I actually care about kids.
Yeah.
But like nobody wants to even pretend.
You're burnt out because you actually care.
Yeah.
You know that it's not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
And if it's this way right now, it's going to end up horrible down the road for these kids.
Absolutely. And the thing about it too, it's to the point right now, I be looking at so many videos online. These teachers are fearing for their life to go and teach. You know what I'm saying? It's either your mental sanity, or you just stressed out, or you just afraid what a kid could do to you in the classroom.
100%.
Because you're trying to teach them.
100%.
You see what I'm saying? So these teachers are afraid. So they're like, what means more to me? Saving my life or teaching these kids?
And dude, some of these kids
see
are
what I'm saying?
big now too, dude.
They're
They were like
big,
hooked up to jumper cables when they were born.
Oh, these
Like,
kids,
some of these
kids
dude,
they grown. They got full beards, mustaches, all that stuff. In
Yeah,
8th grade,
dude.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like the hamburger helper that you're like feeding them, but like
It's macaroni and cheese. No.
Yeah. It's the macaroni and cheese.
Exactly.
They're putting something in it, but like
Yeah.
these kids are like huge now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah,
so I mean, it comes down to the point where do I want to teach or survive? What means more to me?
and you nailed it on the head there.
Yeah.
When you said stress, because there is like a high degree of stress to where there are some days where my chest feels so tight and my head is pounding, and I've actually felt dizzy at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
You know what also help out with retention strategies? So when you started a school, right? If you transfer, you have to be there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what I say to that is stop that. Because how many teachers get into a school, they transfer because they're told that the grass is greener on the other side. They get there and they find out that it isn't that. And then they're forced to stay in a situation because they were lied to by omission, right? Allow those teachers to go, I need to get out of here. Why are you holding them? Because they know that they were able to rope that teacher into a bad situation and now they're making the teacher pay for it.
Yeah.
When meanwhile, the person that sold them on that, the admin, they should be the ones getting in trouble for doing so.
Yeah. It's like being in a bad relationship that you can't leave.
But you can't leave. Yeah, because it's like every single day she has like, you know, she's like, all right, she's like threatening to blackmail you or whatever it is, and then you can't actually leave the relationship. It's like being stuck in a toxic relationship.
Absolutely.
And then and then you got to actually tell the person who is treating you horribly and everything. Yeah, it's so great to hear, because you have to say that stuff because you need to use them as a recommendation to get out of that school.
To go to a different school.
And it's just like, yo, man.
You're just stuck.
You're stuck.
Twilight, yeah.
Now you're in you're living in hell, and you're having to actually say lies all the time.
And the other thing too, man, like the burnout thing is complex as well too, because burnout has to do with working too long of hours. The misconception that people think whenever they get into teaching is like, dude, I'm going to be working like 180 days and I get summers off, I get Christmas off, I get this time off and everything. And people actually get in the classroom and they find out that they take their work home with them. And it is so stressful for
Absolutely.
those 5, 6, 7 classes that you teach a day. It's so stressful that it takes you so much longer to come down because like your cortisol is so high.
Yeah.
Dude, when you get out of the classroom, it's like we were talking to one of our teacher buddies who's a really funny comic. His name's Chris Gardner. He was saying when he was on here, I remember he was like, dude, I never knew what it meant when people would say my nerves are bad. And he goes, and then he's like, I'm just substitute teaching. He's like, bro, he's like, my nerves are bad. Because he's like these kids in the classroom. It's like said that he could feel like tingles in his arms. And he's like, I've never felt that before. He's like, I don't know what that is. He's like, it's my nerves. And it's crazy because just all day long.
It's so many emotions going through your mind. Sometimes you scared, you're going to say the wrong thing to a kid. You know, you don't feel that way. Oh, I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to get loud. I'm going to scream at this kid. You don't fear that you might do the wrong thing. I know you don't fear. I know you don't fear like, you're going to hit a kid.
No, I would never do that.
I'm not saying that. But you lose your mind. Like, would you sit down? Or you might curse or something. You'll feel like, I got to be cautious enough not to snap on his child.
I've trained enough to know that there's like a certain threshold that I'll never get past. But what does happen is there are times where your class is so full and there's so many people, your faculties fail you. And what I mean by that is you're going to scream sometimes. If you have above 32 kids in your class, I don't think there's any possibility that you won't lose your temper at least one time that year.
Yeah.
Or just raising your voice. You have
You know?
to, man.
Yeah.
It's now there's a difference between I think like screaming and that's like crashing out type stuff, and then having to raise your voice, to get
sit down,
to get people's attention because you have to bring people back. But if somebody like if there's a kid dancing on the table, if there's another kid like pouring water on the floor, there's another kid with like a tech deck playing, there's a kid throwing talkies on the ground. Finally, if they're not listening to you, remember that scene in Kindergarten Cop where Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, "Be quiet." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where he's like, he has to do that to be able to draw the kids back, and then then they're like attentive.
Yeah.
You can't do that every day because it'll lose its luster, but you got to do it like sometimes.
Do you feel like sometimes when you work at the school, when you work around other teachers, it's a good support system to make you want to go teach because you got a good support system with the other teachers at the school?
Yeah,
Does
sure.
I
that
love
make you feel
everybody
good?
that I work
Like you got
with.
Kip.
Dude, I got Kip, man. Kip Thompson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kip Thompson.
Be shout out for sure.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
friends at work too, and I actually like. There's not one, and I'm not just saying this on the record because we're on air, but like, there's nobody that I dislike at my job.
That's
generally.
good.
And I don't think I've ever had that before.
That's what makes it okay.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I like everybody I work with.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, the education system sucks, and I'm
Boom.
exhausted all the time. So it doesn't matter how great everybody that I work with is. I'm exhausted.
Here's the next one. Ready?
let's
Mental
go into
health and behavior. A major focus is on supporting student mental health, managing classroom behavior, and addressing the impact of social media.
Yeah, on student mental health. That's really what we do all day long is managing student mental health because when kids are getting up and running out of the seat, it's because there's something going on inside of their brain. They have that little tickle to where they can't actually sit still.
See,
You know
they
what I mean?
say this, we're going to start focusing on supporting student mental health. Guys, it all comes down to cost. Everything. What's the cost? What is it going to cost? And they say all of these things. This reminds me of restorative justice. Saying all this stuff, but once the cost that is actually calculated, you'll see like an extra support staff for a year or two, and then just watch them go away. Like there was a restorative justice teacher that was supposed to lead little kumbaya circles and all that stuff. That lasted for all of a year, two, maybe at really really bad schools,
Really,
and then it just went away. This stuff I think this is more talk than what's actually going to end up happening.
Yeah, no, but
so you're trying to say they talk about helping, but they're not going to help.
It'll be for show. It's kind of like when there was a guy who was running for some kind of thing I forgot what it was in the school district. He dropped by our school and he got the kids all new backpacks. But it looked great. See, I'm going to
But it doesn't
a
do
lower
anything.
performing school, and he gave him the worst backpacks. The things were like falling apart and
Oh
everything.
my
And everyone's
God.
like, yeah, so he's a good guy. Then just back into the shadows.
Yeah, it's just
Really?
made out of like it's just
Yeah,
made out of paper bags
It's
from
just,
Ralph's.
it's just theater.
Well, the thing though,
talk.
the thing is
Yep.
though, the way I see it is a major focus on supporting. I'm more so coming at it from the angle of like that's what teachers do all day long, and that's why we're so burnt out. We're not
Mhm.
therapists, but basically what we're doing is we're dealing with mental health problems in the classroom at such an astronomical level that it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah. But what does it mean addressing the impact of social media?
Well,
what does
no,
that
they're
mean?
talking all about the kids, guys. A major focus is on supporting student mental health, managing their classroom behavior, and addressing the impact of social
Yeah,
media.
how that affects their brain.
Okay.
So basically, like kids swiping on TikTok all day long, whenever you get in front of them, they're going to
Mhm.
look at you like, I can't get him out of my algorithm. You know what I mean? Because it's like he's still talking. So we're dealing with the impact of social media. Social media changed too in 2020.
Oh my God.
I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Social media is big for kids because they record everything in the classroom and they put it on social media.
And it changed because like social media, what people forget, up to 2020, we had Instagram, and I don't even think Reels were available in 2020 yet. It was just you would post on Instagram. You'd post pictures or you'd post videos.
Yeah.
And then if you posted videos, you had to post like multiple ones in like minute-long increments, and people could swipe over. So
That was
it
like
wasn't you
Snapchat.
weren't
Yeah.
scrolling as much all day long. People were more so addicted to Facebook
Yeah.
and yelling about their political opinions on Facebook. That was
Yeah.
like their the needle to the vein for them. But
Yeah.
like what happened was TikTok became a thing.
Yeah.
And then when TikTok became a thing, people started scrolling and doing short stuff, and then it just fried everyone's attention span,
Big time.
adult and kids. And I
Yeah.
think it probably made teaching like even worse. You were a teacher, so you can speak to it, but that you know.
I don't actually think it's made their attention spans because they're kids, so their attention spans are already
trash
bad.
anyways.
Yeah, they're already trash. No, it's just the lack of like basic things of no, you know what? How about this? TikTok doesn't ruin attention spans as much as not getting them to read a book.
Well,
Because
it's
the act
easier
of
though.
not reading a book
Mhm.
is having more of a negative impact on them than allowing them to scroll for fun on TikTok. So if there was a balance between the two, everything would be fine. But we've taken away all this other stuff that actually would be really good for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
The
I
kids
just
don't
think
even read books, guys. In
Nah, you
classrooms,
don't.
a lot of in the ELA classes, they're reading passages.
Mhm.
No, a book you actually do you remember that? You would get a book and there would only be like 2 or 3 books you would read per semester. But
You go through the pages.
Yeah, you go through pages and
Mhm.
they'd annotate
Pictures.
and
Yeah.
that's how you're getting your vocabulary, but then you're also breaking apart sentences and meaning and everything like that. That's how you learn, not by
Yeah.
reading one passage. So,
The thing
Yeah.
is, it's just that they're so addicted to social media, though. That's the thing about it. They get so caught up in social media where social media becomes a drug. They're always looking at something. They look at everybody else's stories. They're looking to see what's going on out there. So you do that so much, your mind gets caught up with that, and that's more what you
Yeah.
want to do than read a book. I'd rather watch somebody else stuff on TikTok or YouTube or something and not read a book. That's more entertaining
it's
for me.
also easier.
Easier too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's really
Yeah.
really weird because it's made the world like smaller. It's like too many kids in a classroom provides
Yeah.
itself to chaos. Too
Mhm.
many people talking to each other on social media,
Mhm.
it lends itself to chaos. You're not supposed to like be talking to people in Nairobi, in Japan, and in Nebraska, all within like the same breath. Like that's too much for our brains to handle. Funding and enrollment pressures. This was another one. Declining birth rates and competition from school choice options are straining public school budgets. Boom.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. So competition from school choice options. You know,
Well, number one, in the
I'll
United
let you go. Yeah.
Yeah, number one in the United States, when people go up, I think, into different class, right, upper middle class or lower class, people that they tend to have less kids the more money that they get, not more kids, and so as our
Broke people are having kids.
well, no, I was good, but what I'm saying that as a whole, the United States does pretty well for itself, right? So we have such a people just have less kids overall. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what if you're upper class, middle class, or lower class. And so, yeah, declining birth rates means, guess what? Fewer customers.
Yeah, and there was a big
Mm.
thing, like, you know, like I think it was, I can't remember who it was that was arguing. I think it was Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Bill Gates was saying that we were going to have population overload. He thought that was the problem. And then Elon Musk was saying that he thinks that we're facing population collapse.
Well,
You
I
know,
think it's Japan
and
will at their current rate, their population will collapse.
I
because they're
heard
not
that.
having kids.
Yeah, because they're not having kids. And so
Th-
that's also, I
They're
mean,
limited with kids now.
they're not having kids at the same rate, so they're not replenishing.
Mm.
And so it's like a first world problem, I think, you know?
Yeah, it used to be a lot, and you look at like religions and stuff like that. It used to be like a lot of like Christians/Catholics were having kids like
Mm.
all the time, especially with Catholics. You know what I mean? Catholics are notoriously known for having a lot of kids. But right now, in Islam, a lot of Muslims are having kids.
Mm.
You know, so it's really interesting, like how people. But I think that people have become so conservative with like, oh, I got to be ready. I got to make sure that I don't, you know what I mean? To where they put it off longer and they just don't end up having kids.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, not
So-
only that, when declining birth rates is that, you know, also people are moving out of LA to raise families now. There's so many other places that you can live and
That are
get
more
And
affordable.
cheaper.
more affordable,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So that also contributes to the lack of customers.
Dude, it's hard to have a kid in LA. It's hard to have a dog in LA.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like it's hard to have a dog. Like you
Very
can't even
true.
get a Cocker Spaniel to take care of.
Now it
you
says
know?
competition from school choice options. So we're talking charter schools and stuff like that. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I think charter schools, when used appropriately, are fantastic.
What constitutes
But
a charter school? again?
charter schools don't really get a lot of money though.
Oh, some of them can.
Really? Because I heard they
What
get I
constitutes
heard
a
they get
charter
less
school
money.
again?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go on. So they're run basically like a private school, but with
Okay.
public funds.
Gotcha.
But they don't have to adhere to a lot. Some don't have to adhere to the same things as public schools.
Gotcha.
What I did learn since I am working with kids with this with budgets and the things like that with after school programs, elementary schools get the most money, the most funding first. Then
Really?
then middle school, and then high school don't really get that much funding like that.
That makes sense though, because
Yeah.
that's the most developmental time of your
They
personality.
do that, yeah.
So that actually does make sense to do
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of this is straining public school budgets, and also, hey, the price of everything continues to go up. LAUSD wants to act like, yeah, we're not going to pay these teachers. We'll probably go on strike, and the teachers will get paid, and they're going to have to move around money, you know?
Yeah, and what I don't understand is how there's so much like, especially specifically for our district, how it seems like there's so much money. Where is it going?
I think the superintendent, people like that, keep the money for themselves. I believe. I think
They might.
don't
I don't
give-
know
they-
enough
they-
about
I-
it, but
Well, I heard that too. They sometimes they keep some like that money.
yeah, it's like,
instead
why
of-
is a superintendent driving around a Ferrari?
Exactly.
Nah. So I think the bigger thing is, it's school site personnel, school site versus non-school site personnel.
Okay.
At one point, I would love to see the numbers, but at one point there was like a 1-to-1.
hmm
So for every on-site school, there was one non-school. The budget was almost exactly the same. And you go, who are all these other people out there that are part of a public education that aren't even assigned to a school site? What
That's
do they
crazy.
do? So I think that's where you always have to look for first and go, how many people are doing one person's job? Because I remember,
I
when
mean,
you went down,
I'm doing a million jobs, and so are you, and so are you. you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
yeah. And I remember going down to the main district office and having to bring 2 different transcripts.
Your transcript and like your social security or birth certificate
Yeah,
or whatever.
but 2 transcripts that were sealed. And literally like one goes to one office and one goes to the other. I go, you guys just made 2 jobs out of one.
100%, dude.
That's crazy.
It's
Really?
so crazy, dude. And also too, what's so funny is when you go down to the district office where you work at. We'll move on to the next question in a second. But when you go to the district office where you work at, they are so lazy that when you go down there, they look at you like you just smacked their grandmother whenever you ask a question. It's very much like the DMV.
So I've noticed that they're better in person, but if you call on the phone,
Oh my God.
you just I've said it before. They sound like you just interrupted the middle of them singing happy birthday and you're denying them their cupcakes that they've been waiting to.
100%.
It is the worst. It's like, I've never felt so belittled in my life by any other coworker.
Yeah, are you professionally supposed to answer by saying yeah?
They probably get a million.
It's on the website.
They probably get a million calls.
Yeah, be like, yeah. Is this the county? Is this yeah, hilarious.
All right.
Chronic absenteeism and learning gaps. Districts are struggling with high rates of chronic absenteeism, very true, and the need for ongoing academic recovery following the pandemic. Dude, there are so many kids that are absent all the time.
Yeah. The pandemic was so long ago. And also too, like they've actually did the studies. This test scores didn't go down as much as what people thought that they would.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because yeah, that's all it is. They're always finding. So the producer just said they're still using the pandemic as an excuse. It's like, no, because guess what? It didn't matter if the kid was in the classroom or at home. They were still doing nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
The kids that showed up to Zoom were the same ones that were Mr. in the classroom and participating and all that. So yeah, the ongoing academic recovery, guess what? School districts, if you feel comfortable enough, like where a kid you're going to hand them a high school diploma and they read and write on a 3rd and 4th grade level, good for you. Because then the world's going to smack them right in the face and you actually didn't prepare them.
Yeah, and the chronic absenteeism, that's like a constant thing. There are kids who I've probably seen 3 times this year.
Really?
Yeah, especially like in my homeroom.
That's
there's some kids that are just never there. And I'm like, they're still going to graduate. Isn't that crazy? You could go to school 4 days out of the year and you'll still go on to the next grade, probably.
As I said,
that's
so
no sense.
Why would you choose to not do that?
Perfect example was, in that, I mean, I made a joke about it. I did a teacher talk, the whole Stranger Things. People are like, don't you guys think it's unrealistic that Max was in a coma for 2.5 years and still graduated? I go, no, she went to a public school.
100%.
Right? It's the same thing.
100%.
And this whole chronic absenteeism, you have kids that are just showing up late, missing every day, first 2 periods of the day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because there's no accountability.
They're just pushing you through, dude. Like I remember when I was a senior in high school, there was something that I used to do. Like my parents would never let me skip, but I remember they would go to work. And so what I would do is I would leave late. I'd go park my car down at my buddy's house, and then I would call on the cell phone, and I would sound like my mom. And I'd call my school office. I'd be like, hello. I'd be like, is Mr. O'Downey there? I'd be like, this is Leanne Jones, Matt Jones's mom. Matt's not going to be able to come in today. He's sick. And then I would hang up. And so I thought I was so smooth and I got away from it. But after I think I was absent 7 times or something like that. I called myself in sick 7 times as a senior. And they sent a note home and my parents found it. And that changed that real quick.
Yeah.
Because I got in trouble.
Yeah.
But the thing is a lot of these kids, it goes back to the no consequences at home. Like their parents don't really care if they miss school.
Yeah.
Because
their parents tell them to skip.
I call home.
Yeah.
I call home and we'll text the parent. On my Google Voice number.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the kid's behavior. So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Once again, right? Always go home. If you have behavior problems or whatever, text the parents, because if the behavior doesn't change from that, it never will.
Yeah, it never will. So at that point, you can just stop, you know. So all integration, AI integration and data privacy.
By the way.
Oh, yeah. I look like a supervillain. You know how in cartoons,
look how we look.
You know how in cartoons when somebody's in a swivel chair and they just press the button and then the piranhas.
He's so happy that he just bombed somebody.
I bombed some third world country.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like, Mr. President, it's like, don't you feel bad? And I throw my head back and laugh.
Yeah, the face of joy.
Yeah, the face of joy. It's a dictator face.
Sociopath.
Yeah, it's sociopath face. I actually like that. That's a great comedy album, Sociopath Face. Schools are navigating the ethical use of artificial intelligence while addressing rising concerns over student data security. I don't think there really is an ethical way to use AI, because here's the thing. There's a computer that you can ask it anything. How are you going to be ethical with that? How are kids not going to use that for their homework?
Why not?
How?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be like, I can think about this, or I can outsource my thinking to this computer and ask it the question. It's literally the Garden of Eden.
I know for a fact if I was in college, I'd be using AI like crazy.
100%.
Yeah,
The
easily.
funniest thing to me,
Yeah.
though,
I would too.
Yeah.
is seeing all these kids, because I know that they're. So remember back in the day, they'd say like, "Oh, homework shouldn't be part of the grade because some kid's going home and someone is helping them at home." Okay,
yeah.
get rid of homework. Blah blah blah. Now the kid's going home. Yeah, he doesn't have anybody. He has someone even better than someone at home. AI.
Dude, he has Terminator 2. He has Skynet at home.
But nothing. What's funny to me is seeing all these kids that I know that are only taking 12 questions to get through their IXL homework, and then come in and take a test where they have nothing and just bomb so bad, and now then someone goes, well, then you should just not even assign the homework because what's the point? And I go, if there is one kid that goes home and actually does it and is getting better and using their mind, then it's worth it. Because the kids that were going to cheat on it, let them cheat on it anyway.
Yeah, it's just so funny to me. This is like something that like I feel like tech giants are trying to do something like the ethical use of AI, like that whole thing. There is no ethical way to use AI.
No,
because all it's going to do is it's literally Pac-Man just eating up the jobs. It's like, so when we're talking about like the ethical use of it, I remember when people had a problem.
I don't see how you can do it. Yeah.
Because Walmart would come and swallow up these mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
Well, now we have something that's greater than Walmart.
It is harvesting your data.
It's harvesting your data. It's Skynet.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's
so
like
there is no ethical way to use it, I don't think.
Yeah, at all.
At all.
Just use it. Ask a question.
Well, there is. I should say that there is an ethical way to use it as a way to help, right? The problem is that you still have to be the one that generates the questions, right? You have to have the inquisitive mind. Like AI gets so many things wrong. Like I've been researching.
Absolutely.
I've been researching stuff and correcting AI.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah,
like,
it's AI, not perfect.
AI has messed up a lot.
But it's going to get better.
It's still in beta right now anyway. Yeah. So yeah.
It's going to get better because like, you know what AI is like right now? Remember the early Apple computers that looked like a freaking, like they were like the size of a tank? The early Apple computers that they used to have in classrooms when we were like kids. That's what AI is like right now. It's not like this sleek, sanded down edition that it used to be.
You still have to be the person. And this is what comes back to like, why is education important, right? Because even if you have a great tool, let's just call it a tool, right? You still need to be able to ask it the correct questions.
Facts.
Or how to use things, to even, how about this? How about just even understand the data that you're reading within the context?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Because AI talks very robotic too, like especially like, that's why a lot of times professors can tell if you used AI. Dude, I had a kid.
Certain language, yeah.
I had a kid that used AI and I was like, there's no way he wrote this.
Yeah.
Because he used it, they were making up their scripts and everything. And it was a script. I remember it was my first year teaching. And the script was about a guy named Baljit that lived in India. And it was like so specific to the geography in that region. This kid was not Indian. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, did you use AI to use this? He's like, mm-mm. And I was like, you definitely used AI. But it's like, that's how a lot of times professors find out because people are so stupid.
Yeah.
They don't always know. I'm not calling this kid that, but I'm saying people in general, like in college, do not think to cover up their tracks at all.
And AI uses a certain kind of language that it always uses that you're like, okay, this is AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, speaking of the ethical way to use it, I like it whenever couples use it. You know what I mean? I've heard of couples using it to navigate their arguments, like who's right and who's wrong. And it's like, this is a terrifying time that we're living in.
My buddy used it to read back his divorce proceedings.
Well, yeah, like it can help you interpret documents.
And he was sharing things with me.
Like, what AI was saying?
Yeah, like
was AI is like, yeah, she sounds like she sucks.
Something like that. Yeah. And I'm like, but that's also what you wanted to say.
Yeah, that's what you wanted to say. AI is going to create so many narcissists as people pleasers. I asked it if watermelon or grapes were healthier. And then at the end, it's like, you're doing great, Matt. It's like, I asked you a simple question, but all right. So guys, I believe that is all the topics that we are going to do for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Continue to send us your questions. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys think and tell us about everything. Tell us about your trauma. Tell us about your joys. Tell us about your wins. But let's be honest, the trauma stuff is more interesting because we're trauma bonding over here at the Teachers Lounge.
Yeah.
So trauma bond with us. Make sure you guys follow us. We are releasing a new episode every single Monday. And let us know your story because we might highlight it on the episode. Stay tuned as well because we're going to have stand-up clips and sketches coming soon too. So,
Yes, we out.
Bye, guys. I don't know what this is. But...
Peace.